because that was his last order to me as he drove out of town for cool Eureka, hopefully cool, and smoke-free. And we'll see about getting started here. So this is the one of our 2 lessons each month that's geared for everybody. And it's one I've done before in our stake a couple of years ago. And what I'm trying to do is try to show you some new ways of doing some things that might help you in your own research or for research for your patrons. And we're going to take the advantage of all of these partnerships that we have. We're going to today talk about the partnership with Ancestry and how that partnership can be used to our advantage and making our life easier as we do things. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and pull up the PowerPoint. I found this cute little cover thing, and no, I don't know who those people are. It just turned out to be a nice graphic. And so we're going to talk about growing your pedigree using a tree at Ancestry as kind of the basic idea here. And of course, we know that our main job is to put our names in Family Tree at FamilySearch, because that's where we do our temple work. And we want to use the sources that are over there. We all understand that. But we also know that Ancestry and other sites have records that FamilySearch doesn't. And they can often be a great big help to us. And we have these partnerships available to us. The question becomes, how often do we actually use them to our benefit? And I want to explore a way that we can do this to our real advantage using Ancestry as a tool to help us grow a tree over in FamilySearch. Okay, we know that we can put our tree over at Ancestry. You can put trees over there for your patrons. And that's what I'm going to do tonight, is I'm going to create a tiny little tree for a patron and show you how we can grow that and add new names into FamilySearch by doing that. And it's really not a hard process. It really isn't hard at all. So I have the patron, and we were working down a line, and we got back to a Patrick John Long, who was born in 1882 and died in 1928. We have full birth and death information on him. We know who he married. We know from a marriage record that his parents' names were Thomas and Elizabeth Long, and obviously Elizabeth Long, that Long is probably her married name. His death certificate named Thomas Long and his mother Elizabeth Gorman. So we have their names, and in fact, their names were put into tree, but they don't have any births or death information. And so they're really, incomplete records at this point. You can't do temple work off of them or anything like this. And so this is essentially a brick wall. I mean, we searched everywhere in FamilySearch to grow this tree and came up with absolutely nothing. This became a dead end at FamilySearch, whether it was because there really are no records for them, or maybe it's that the search engine just doesn't do the job it needs to do for us. Whatever the reason was, we were at a dead end. So I said, let's see what we can do if we go to Ancestry to grow this tree and see if we can do something about them through Ancestry. And so I got to get this thing to advance. Don't do this to me. There we go. So we know that we can grow a tree or build a tree over at Ancestry by going to Trees when you have your Ancestry account, which I assume we all have. I need to try to get my little control bar off the top of here, but I can't seem to get it to go away. Whoops. Now it's starting to advance and I don't want it to. I'm having fun. Okay, so we know that we can create trees, and if you hadn't ever made a tree, you ought to try to do this over at Ancestry. After you sign into your account, you go up where it says trees on the page, and you come down to the bottom and you say import tree from FamilySearch, and it'll build a tree for you. You give the tree a name, and then you check the little box that says allow others to view the tree. There's no reason to keep this thing private. You want it to be a public tree. The people that are living are going to be marked living, but you want to be able to let people see the dead people in your tree. And at this point, if you click save, it's going to create you a 4-generation tree, or as much of the 4 generations as you have in FamilySearch. The drawback here is this is going to build a tree for you by going down here to import tree from FamilySearch. But I wanted you to see that so that if you've never made one at Ancestry, you know where to go. Okay, it will grow you a 4-generation tree with 1 click. Always remember, it'll only be the ancestors, not the children in the family, just your direct ancestors going back. But see, I want to build a tree for that person that I'm working with, for that one person in their tree that's the dead end. So in this case, I really don't want to go there. I want to go up one where it says create and manage trees. It's kind of buried. And when you click on that, it's going to show you a list of your trees. And by the way, at Ancestry, you can have as many trees as you want. Okay? Just you have to keep track of them. That's the only problem. But I'm going to go and I want to create a brand new tree. And I'm going to create that tree. And I'm going to add 1 name, and that's all the typing for adding people to this tree that I'm going to have to do. It's very simple. So I click on that link, create a new tree, and it starts me a new tree. Okay, and it's just blank. It's a nothing tree. So I'm going to have to start filling it in. I want to put 1 person in there. Now, the tree we were looking at where the dead end was, the last person we really know that we have information on is Patrick John Long. Okay, I'm going to go to his son, John Gorman Long, and start the tree there so that I get both Patrick Long's side of the family and his wife's side of the family, so I can use the full thing. But the only thing I'm really after right now are the Longs. So I pull up John Gorman Long in FamilySearch, and then I click here where it says add home person, and I type John Gorman Long's information straight out of FamilySearch. This is the only person I'm going to have to type in. This is the beauty of creating a tree using the information over at FamilySearch. In this case, I have to type 1 name. If I was doing my own tree, it would have filled it in for me going on out. I wouldn't have had to type anybody, but this isn't my family. Okay, so I fill it all in, and then I even added his wife too, but basically just click continue, and now he's in the tree. I have this big tree with just John Gorman Long. But notice right away, they have the little hints showing, the little green shaky leaf. Used to shake, they don't shake anymore. But the little green leaf, which is their hint thing, I know there's hints for him. So I click on John Gorman Long, and it pulls up his little card, and I say, okay, let's go over to his profile. And when I go to his profile, the thing I see right away is there's a little FamilySearch symbol there. If you look up there, a little FamilySearch tree symbol. If you're a member of the church and your account is linked to your church account, you're going to have the ability to do temple work through this link. You're going to be able to link this John Gorman Long with the John Gorman Long over at FamilySearch. You're going to be able to do a bunch of things because you're a member of the church and you're using your LDS account. So I'm going to click on that little tree symbol. And the first thing it wants to do is it wants to try to match up my guy that I just typed in with somebody over in FamilySearch. It shouldn't be very hard because I used the exact information. And you see that a guy came up, John Gorman Long, with the exact birth date and death date stuff that I entered because that's who I was entering it from. So I click that little circle in front of his name, and then it'll show down at the bottom, parallel or next to each other, both the person from my ancestry tree on the right and the guy from FamilySearch on the left. And you can see across from each other their information, whether they agree, they disagree. You'll notice that I put in John Gorman Long's wife, whose last name is Wolf. They don't have that in tree, but the thing they have in tree is they have his parents, which I didn't bother to put in. And so I want to just hook up my John Gorman Long with the FamilySearch John Gorman Long. All I have to do is go and hope this thing will advance. Come on. Click on the connect person. And when I do that, the system now knows, Ancestry now knows where to go over in tree to find John Gorman Long. Now when I go back to John Gorman's thing in Ancestry, you'll notice that that little tree symbol no longer is just a tree. There's also a symbol next to it. That's the temple ordinance status. The lock means that everything's been reserved, but it's in progress. If it had a green check mark, it would be all done. And it has a green tree or something if it's our temple, if it has ordinances that need to be reserved. But what I'm trying to do right now is grow the tree. So when I click on that little box, it's going to have this drop down come on, and I want to go to add relatives from FamilySearch. That's what I want to do. I want to grow this tree as far as I can grow it. So when I click add relatives, this little screen pops up. Now, normally you would be clicking on the first little button where it says add an immediate family member, and then one at a time you could go through the process of adding them. But see, I set this up so that John Gorman Long is at the end of my tree. He's the end. He's the dead end. And if that's the case, you can come down below that where it says add up to 4 generations for this person. This option is available only for end-of-line ancestors. Well, that's what John Gorman Long is. So I just click that button, and then I'm going to click continue, and it's going to, if I can get this thing to advance, it's going to then allow me, after I click that button and then click continue, it's going to add to the tree whatever there is in 4 generations going out from John Gorman Long. Now, if you are building your own tree, just for the sake of letting you know, when you first start it, they'll build you a 4-generation tree. If you want to be able to grow it further, you just go to the last people in each line, you click on their temple symbol like I did, click on add relatives, click on the add 4 generations, click continue, and it will then advance you 4 more generations. You'll have to do that to each of the people on the end of your line, but it will work. Okay, so we're going to click continue. And now this is what the tree looks like. With that one click, I now have everything that I wanted. I've even got the Macaulay side of the family, which I'm not going to look at tonight. I was after getting these people here, Patrick John Long with his parents. And remember now, all I have is I have Patrick, I have Thomas, I have Elizabeth. There's no other children in there except John Gorman Long, who's a child of Patrick and Agnes. And he's the only child that's in this tree. So this tree has a long ways to go. But the thing that's nice is Patrick John Long has one of those little green leaves. So we know we're going to be able to do something when we go to his card. So we'll go to his card. If I can get this thing to advance. And when we click on it, we find out that the first hint is Ancestry Trees. Now, I know a lot of you say, ooh, trees, we don't want to mess with that. But we do. We're assuming that these people aren't that far back in time. The trees are probably reasonably good. And anyway, this is my private tree. If it gets messed up, I can go back in and delete people. But I'm going to be able to, yeah. I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm hoping you can hear me.
Hey, this is Michael Payne. If anybody else having problems, we froze up on the screen. We could still hear you. So we had to reboot to get back on, and now we're on the right screen, I think.
Oh, everybody?
No, I'm fine.
I'm okay too. I'm okay.
Okay, well, you know, I'll tell you one thing. This thing's dependent upon our internet. And one little blip in the internet and you're out.
Okay.
So, okay, well, hopefully we can get you back in. You can at least listen. So, for good or bad, I'm going to use trees to start my families and then do verification. So, I'm going to click on the review the tree. And when it comes up, it's really kind of funny. I've named my tree the Long Family Tree. There's a Long Family Tree by a Christina Frederick something or other, same name. Her tree tells me a city where Patrick John Long supposedly was born. I only have Pennsylvania. It has his parents with some dates, and I have no dates. And it has his wife and some other children. So I'm going to click on that tree saying I want to compare that tree with what I have and bring over everything that I can bring over and add to my tree. And I won't have to type any of this. I'll just have to click some buttons. So I first click that little box to say I want to compare that tree. There's 10 of them there. I usually only click on one that has everything I'm looking for, or maybe 2 at the most. So I click on that. I'm trying to get my screen to where I can see what I can see on here. And then I click on review. The review process is where I add stuff to my tree. So in this case, Patricia's tree, or whatever her name was, her tree, she had Oil City for Patrick. So I click on the little box in front of it, and that will bring over Oil City to my guy in my tree. It says it was just Pennsylvania. It's now Oil City, Pennsylvania. I still got to figure out the county. I click the little buttons in front of the father and the mother so that they're being compared. And since they don't have any dates for birth and death, they're automatically checked as soon as I check the box, and that information is added to my tree. Initially, I did have the word Ireland for his place of birth. That's why it wasn't over, why where Hertfordshire, England didn't override it is because it did say Ireland on his record, and that's the only thing it said. I'm just going to leave it for now, because that's what it said. When I'm done checking and bringing over and adding to my tree any people that I want to bring over, the kids are there, I can bring the kids over. I then will be ready to finish off this step. And what I do is I click Save Tree. And when I do, and I come back to my tree now, Thomas and Elizabeth also have green shaky leaves. Yes? Somebody wanted to say something? Okay. So Thomas and Elizabeth have green shaky leaves. That's what I really wanted to get to see if we can grow that part of the family. So I'll go click on Thomas and look at his hints, and he has 7 hints. One of them's these famous trees, and we'll look at those in a minute, and then 6 other ones that either are or maybe aren't him and are questionable. There is one that was interesting, but I don't know if it's accurate for this guy or not. There is an 1880 immigration record into New York City for a 24-year-old Thomas Long from Ireland in 1880. In 1880, 24 years old would make him born about 1856. It'd be just about right. But I don't know if this is the right guy or not at this point. But that was an interesting hint. The only one I want to look at is the trees. So CISO, there's a CISO tree, and in that tree, it gives me a little more information on Thomas. Tells me, you know, this guy said he was born in 1859, died before 1899. That kind of helps me understand why I can't find him on the 1900 census. Could never find him on a 1900 census. Well, if he died before 1900, he's not going to be on a 1900 census. But look at this tree. Besides having Elizabeth Gorman there are a total of, I believe, 8 children. 7 children. I only have 1. I've got Patrick John Long, or Patrick John Long, yeah, that's the one I have. Those other kids I've never seen. FamilySearch didn't have them in the family. So now my job is to decide if these people really belong to this family. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the comparison, and I'm going to bring them into the family as a tentative add to the family. And when I'm done, my ancestry tree now looks like this. I have Thomas Long, I have Elizabeth, and then I have all these children. And I looked for each one of them in FamilySearch, and the system said none of these kids were in the system. Except, of course, obviously Patrick John Long was, but the other 6 were not in the system. So this is what I want to do. I want to find records that prove that they are children of Thomas Long and Elizabeth Gorman. Find them in censuses, birth records, marriage records, death records, probates, wills, obituaries, anything I can find to prove that they're children of Thomas and Elizabeth. Now, I didn't put this in here, but the thing you're going to see is virtually every record except one census record you're going to see, and maybe the ship records. Everything else, none of these records are at FamilySearch. They're strictly ancestry records. None of these records are found at FamilySearch. This is why it was so vital to come over here. Okay, so we're going to start with Thomas Benedict Long. What can we find on him? Well, he's got a death certificate in Pennsylvania. And it says he died the 11th of February. He was born the 11th of February, 1880, one day off from what the record said in the tree that I had. and died the 8th of November, 1919 in McKean County, Pennsylvania. Father, Thomas Long, mother, Elizabeth Gorman. So I look at the review of that. I say, boy, that's got to be my guy. How many Thomas Longs are going to be born that have the father Thomas and the mother Elizabeth Gorman? So I click, yes, that's a tree, that's a source I want, and I go then to their source tracker. This is their Ancestry version of source tracker. And I click on the people like the mother and the father so that they are brought into this sourcing system. So it will source to Thomas and it will source to the mother and the father. All three of them will have this death certificate for Thomas as their source. Now, if I needed to bring information over, I could. I'm not sure which date is the right date. This says the 11th. It's probably accurate, but for right now, I'm not going to worry about it. When I'm through bringing everything over, I click Save to Your Record, and it saves it. Now, were there any other records about Thomas Benedict Long? Well, there's a marriage record. When he marries Anna Divany, it said his father was Thomas Long, his mother was Elizabeth Long. There's even other sources that will help construct this family, but the marriage record above names his parents. Then there was a 1900 census. This is the only census that had anybody from this family. And it shows, if you look down on the bottom, Thomas with his sister, Elizabeth. He's 20, she's 16, and they're living in the home of a Fitzpatrick family in McKean County. And that's the county where he eventually dies. So I did do some research in Ancestry, and I discovered a court case where Robert Fitzpatrick was given guardianship of Elizabeth and Thomas Long. So that kind of helps verify that the father died before 1900, because in 1900, they're living in the home of the Fitzpatricks as wards or, adopted children, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I want to go back to that immigration record. Now the immigration record may start making some sense to me. Remember, we had that 1880 census record for the father Thomas, not the child Thomas, but the father. And so it said that Thomas Long, born about 1856, came to New York in April of 1880. And this is the original record showing Thomas Long, age 24. He's a laborer. And as I looked at the sources for the son Thomas, lo and behold, I found a rival record for him on the 20th of December, 1880, when he's 7 months old. As I recall, I believe he was born in March of 1880. And it says his nationality is Irish. His place of origin is Ireland. They departed from London. And if you look at the original record, Elizabeth Long, age 20, and her son Thomas Long, age 7 months, are listed. Now, there's no way I can perfectly guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that this is the family, but it almost has to be. Dad Thomas arrived on the 27th of April. That's after the birth of his son. I'm sure he stayed in Ireland long enough to make sure that his son was born safely, that he was going to be healthy, and then he left for America. The mother and the baby stayed in England, or Ireland, I should say, until almost Christmas of that year when the baby was 10 months old. And then they came to America. Now, this is significant because they both missed the 1880 census, which was based on January 1, 1880. So they're not going to show up on the 1880 census. By 1900, we know Dad for sure is dead. We never have found a death date for Mom, but she's probably dead too. So they come to America, they raise a family, and they never leave a census record. This is why it was so important to come over to Ancestry to unravel the mess. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on Thomas Benedict Long. Okay, we're ready to put him in tree. So we're going to click on his little tree symbol, and it comes up, and of course it says, hey, there's no matches. See where the little triangle, the yellow triangle is, or gold triangle. No match for him. That's great. That's what we were hoping would happen. So we can go down underneath there at the bottom where it says add to family search, and with one click, it's going to fill in a record for Thomas Benedict Long with all the sources and all the information that I put on his record. And I just have to click one time and he will be in family search. And there he is. And he's now green, which is the whole point of this. We can do his temple work. It has 9 sources attached to him. And this is the whole point of what we were trying to do, was to show you how easy it would be to do it by working a little tree over in Ancestry and then just transfer the stuff over instead of working so hard source by source by source when you're doing somebody who isn't in tree. Now, what about the other kids in this family though? Okay, so we need to look at the others. There's Elizabeth, who marries an Erman, and her death certificate in 1954 in Pennsylvania says that her father's Thomas Long, her mother's a Gorman. So that verifies her. And remember, she's also on the 1900 census with her brother, John, that we just added in. And so those 2 things are sufficient for me to feel that she's part of the family. So she's good to go. The next child was John Long. I could only find one source that mentions his parents, and that's this obituary, which is actually from newspapers.com, which is the affiliate of Ancestry, or owned by Ancestry. It mentions his parents, Thomas and Elizabeth Long, and it says he's from Oil City. Remember, that's that city where a lot of the family was found in. So he's part of the family, even though I couldn't find any other original records to name his parents. Henry Joseph, well, in his case, Ancestry has Social Security applications and claims. Now, FamilySearch and Ancestry have the Social Security Death Index. The Death Index just has the dates. The application and claims, if it's there in the application, give you the names of the parents. And this one gives the names of Henry Joseph Long's parents as Thomas Long, Elizabeth Gorman. Bingo. He has an obituary. It didn't name his parents, but it doesn't matter because we've already know through the Social Security application that he's part of the family. Okay, Anna Elizabeth. She has a death certificate. She names her parents. Thomas Long, Elizabeth Gorman. She has an obituary. That doesn't name her parents, but it names her sister Elizabeth Erman and her brothers Henry and John. So she's a part of this family. Mary is the one child that I can't find anything on. I seriously doubt that she exists, and I can't find anything. I'm sure not going to perpetuate something that's not necessarily true. So with lack of evidence, all I did was delete her out of my tree, because there's nothing I can find at any end of her life, beginning or end or middle, to verify a Mary Long that was in this family. She's not named in obituary. She's not found anywhere. Okay, so when I'm finished, I now have a family here with 4 more children to put into FamilySearch, because when I initially looked for these people, FamilySearch said none of them are there. Now we come for the big surprise. When I go to do this and I start wanting to add them in, I start finding out that 3 out of those 4 remaining children actually were in FamilySearch. But of course, they were not linked to mom or dad. And I have now added enough information, because I didn't rush things. I've added enough information that the system did find them. So, well, I don't get to add as many new people, but I'm putting a family together that I don't think anybody's ever been able to figure out. That's why they're not together in FamilySearch. So I moved everybody over, or I linked everybody up. And when I was finished, because I added some other kids like spouses and a couple of children, I ended up adding a total of 7 new people into Tree and 75 new sources, almost every one of them things that you won't find in FamilySearch. And my patron now has a whole family that she can do her temple work for. And so this is the power of working with a little tree over in Ancestry, or with your own tree over in Ancestry to grow things. Now, this time what we were focusing on was bringing whole people over with their sources. The next time what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, if the person's already in Tree, how can I bring some sources over doing this? Or, well, I want to use record seek. So we'll teach record seek, and we'll talk about bringing things across. Jenny, I see your hands raised.
I have a question too.
Yeah, I was wondering what the difference is between going to Ancestry and doing all this versus, gosh, sorry about the time, versus just doing a search from FamilySearch, an Ancestry search.
Well, the one thing is, if you just go over and you find something in FamilySearch and Ancestry, you're going to have to one by one create sources and bring them over and link them up. Okay. In this case, the big benefit is if that person's not in Tree, you can build a complete person, attach all the sources to them very easily at Ancestry by just doing some clicks, and then one click, bring them over into Tree. That's the big benefit, especially when you're working on something that doesn't appear to be in FamilySearch at all.
I see.
Now, I have found if I have a lot of sources, see, these people are Pennsylvania. FamilySearch is very poor on Pennsylvania sources. I find when I'm working in FamilySearch on my Pennsylvania families, it's much easier to come over here to Ancestry and find the sources here, add them to my people in my tree at Ancestry, and then showing you next week what we do. It's real easy to bring those sources over into FamilySearch with a single click of a mouse. And I don't have to worry about setting them up. The process of record seek is a little bit laborious. It's better than doing it manually. But the system within a tree at Ancestry is much easier than the record seek version. And so we'll try to show you both of those. It won't be next month, it'll be in 2 months.
Bob,
Yeah,
well, you said that there was like 10 sources, but you're only going to look at 1 or 2. Do you think there was any other information that might have enhanced getting more information? Do you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
go back? Do you ever go back and check the other?
Well, if you notice, like Thomas Benedict Long, he had 9 sources on him when we added him to tree.
Oh, already.
I only showed you 3 or 4 of them,
Right.
but I added everything else that I could to them. You
But
bet.
you do look at each one of those
Yeah.
sources just to make sure it's the same person or not.
Yeah, the thing I was showing you was I was only showing on these children the sources that verified their parents.
Oh, okay.
I wanted you to see that my main responsibility, because hey, I grabbed these out of some dude's tree.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's accurate. And so the only thing I could do is go in and try to prove that Thomas and Patrick and Elizabeth and John and Henry and Anna are all children of Thomas and Elizabeth. And so I showed you the sources that proved it.
Okay.
And then
So-
I went in and added the others. That's why I added 75 sources.
Right. So what about this Mary? You just
Mary, at this point, I can't prove that she even exists.
right.
So I'm not going to perpetuate it. I hate this when people just say, well, so-and-so said there's a Mary in the family, so I'm going to put her over in Family Search. I don't dare,
But
because
she
you know
was-
what's going to happen. They're going to do temple work for her.
Okay. Well, could you put it like up in the I can't even think.
Notes.
Yeah, the notes
I
someplace.
could put it in the notes. I could put her back in this tree now if I wanted to.
Well, just so that she doesn't get lost. I always
Yeah.
worry about you have not a source. You kind of have a source, but you just have a link saying she's part
Yeah,
of
I
this
can't find
family.
any record for Mary Long.
But I have people on mine that were put in by Family Search, and I just leave them there until I can prove it. I don't take them out. So
Yeah, well, I'm not going to add somebody like that into Family Search.
Well,
I'd rather miss her at this point than put her in there and perpetuate a possible mistake that I
Right.
know is going to become temple work.
Well, yeah, but I didn't have any dates or anything. I
Yeah.
just have a
Well,
name.
this gal had dates, 1885 to 1928 or something.
And did she fit in the system
And-
here?
And she would fit in here perfect between Elizabeth and John. But there, I can't find her. I can't find any record of her. If she stayed in Pennsylvania and died in 1928, I should have been able to find her because it should have named her parents in the death certificate.
Hmm.
And there's no Mary with those parents in that year or
Okay.
any time around there, married or not. It's just really strange. But this was really a strange family that
Okay.
nobody could fit together because there were no real census records. Almost invariably, families have census records somewhere. And I don't know why the other kids aren't on the 1900 census, but we can't find any of them. Can't
Well, maybe-
find Anna, can't find Henry, can't find Patrick or Thomas. The only ones we find are Elizabeth and John with that
Well, maybe-
family.
Maybe, I mean, we have family members that were, so this could have happened to Mary. You know how Patrick and, or John, Elizabeth and John were given to that other family?
Yeah,
And there's
you
a
could have changed
record.
her name.
And on Fred's side, they, my husband, the parents, the wife died, the father couldn't take care of them.
Yeah,
And they were given to relatives. They were all given out to and were like
absolutely.
5 or 6 kids that were not living with their brothers and sisters. They were actually given to relatives. So I always worry about the one.
Yeah. Well, my point at this point is I'm not going to worry about her this time because I'm
Okay.
just afraid I'm going to perpetuate something. If I could find any evidence of her, I'd be happy to put her in there.
Okay.
And if she really exists, somebody's sometimes going to figure it out.
Okay.
You know, they'll find her record and they'll tie her to it.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out why I'm sharing. I want to stop share. There we go. So, I'm on watch. What time is it?
When is the next presentation?
Okay, in two Wednesdays from today, there'll be another one. This is more geared towards beginners. It will cover discover, gather, and connect a little bit. It's going to be talking about if you're going to help a patron, a philosophy of how to work descendancy research, because in most cases, that's what we've got to do with our patrons. If we're going to help them find names, is do descendancy research. So we're going to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind descendancy research. We'll hit again the points on duplicates and tree and why we need to be so careful about them, and try to avoid creating duplicates. That's why I was glad. I was kind of disappointed, but I was glad at the same time that my research uncovered the 3 children in this family who were really already there. The worst thing that could have happened would be for me to put those 3 kids in and not know there was a duplicate, and then have somebody start doing their temple work when their work was already done. Because the 3 kids that were in the tree, their work was done, but they had never been matched up with their parents. And so once I found enough information and could put 2 and 2 together and bring them together, it enabled me to avoid, having a bunch of people have duplicate temple work done. So we'll talk about the importance of that. I know I was on Facebook the other day in a group, and this lady, looks like a newlywed, said, "Oh, I've discovered my tree app, and it's so cool. I've added 2,000 names to my reserve list, and by the end of the year, I want to have 10,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I obviously seriously hurt her feelings because I responded in that group with just one word: why? And she got upset, I guess, and pulled her thing down from that group. But I just felt so bad seeing that. That is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get quality, not quantity. And doing it this way allows you to build a quality product. That's what I'm after. And I really did find, especially working in an area like this, or if you were doing German research and the FamilySearch didn't have any of it, but you find it over in Ancestry, it's real easy to build the tree, get the sources attached, and then bring the people over. And you can bringing the people over with one click.
Okay, I have a question though.
Yeah.
So this only works. Okay, I have an Ancestry account, but I pay for it because when I started doing this, I didn't know you got a free one. So I've got my tree all set up in Ancestry big time.
Yeah, but you
So
don't have the links, do you? You don't have the little tree link.
No, I take this stuff back, apparently sort of the hard way. So it only works if you actually use the free version.
You want to know what you do?
Yeah.
You Google Ancestry phone number. You call them up tomorrow, and you tell them you want to cancel your paid account and have an LDS linked account. You give them your membership number, and they'll turn it over to you. They'll probably make you pay what you've already paid them. You'll probably end up having to give them that money, but you'll have the LDS linked account and no longer have to pay. There's no reason for a member of the church to have to pay for an Ancestry account. Right. You're entitled to the free one. That was the partnership deal.
Okay, cool, because I've been paying it for many years.
Mm-hmm. I had a paid one, and that's what I did. I called them up and said, hey, I can't make an LDS account. It says my email's already used, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so they do this all day, every day. They're Mormons. They live in Utah. They're all in Lehi, probably where you're calling them. They know what's going on. You say, hey, I need to change this over to an LDS account, and they'll do it for you in a minute.
Okay, cool. That'll save a little money.
And it'll
It
save you
doesn't-
$200 a year plus.
Yeah. It doesn't give you the newspaper thing though, right?
It, it does not. I pay for that.
Okay, that's
And I
the
pay
one
for the
wanted to do.
premium one. If you want to know, if you're going to get newspapers.com, get the premium. Because
Okay.
75% of the ones I need are in the premium section. So paying
Okay.
for the cheap one doesn't do it for me. I have to have the high price one. It's only
Well,
like
I did-
$70 a year more, or something like that. 50,
Well, I
$70
did the
a year more.
premium. I did the premium Ancestry because I needed more than the basic one too.
Yeah.
Because my
I think you'll
tree's
find
kinda big.
virtually everything, almost everything's in our free account.
Okay, cool. All right.
Any other
'Cause that's
questions?
easier than what I was doing.
And Salt Lake was requesting anyone that wants to do indexing in a foreign language, and even if you don't know that language, they'll teach you. I'd like any of you to call me, and I'm Louise Ottenreed, and I can give my number out if you want it. But
Yes, please.
Put it in the chat, Louise.
Okay, where's the chat?
You find that bar with all the little things like the video and the microphone.
Okay,
And the participants, there's a thing that says chat. There's 9 things in it.
I got it right there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not Weston Cook. That's me.
Yeah, I know. You like to go under these aliases.
Yeah, well, my son-in-law set it up for me that way because he couldn't get me on. So
That's okay. We don't care who you call yourself.
Okay, so what do I do? I've got the
Okay, there's a place down at the bottom that says type message here. So just type a little message, say, if you want to do some indexing, and especially foreign languages,
Okay.
contact me and I'll help you.
Well, I'll give you your name to Salt Lake is what I'll do, because that's what they want. They want to do the training. They actually want to train.
Oh.
It's not letting me click. Oh, type message here. Just type?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
where it says type message here.
Okay.
Make sure it says to everyone.
It does. Okay.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
Okay.
I put something in chat there if the people are still around. I was trying to take roll for you, and I don't know who
Okay.
Sue is, Ernest, iPad 76. So if they would go over on the side, and Barb, Sue is Sue Hendrickson. I've got Sue Hendrickson down here, but I just have one other that just says Sue. So I have a Sue Hendrickson.
Cynthia iPhone is Cynthia Thompson.
Cynthia Thompson.
Dakota Ward.
Ah, my son-in-law's ward.
Our daughter's sister Ward.
Hey, Bob, this is Greg. I am wondering, since Ancestry was sold, what any of that looks like to anybody.
You mean in the department?
Ancestry was sold for $4
Yeah, I know it
million
was.
to some group that was in England. And so that's when I started to wonder whether they would allow us to continue with
I think they're going to have to, because that would be shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
They don't want to shoot themselves in the foot. I think you'll find very little change, because the whole point of buying Ancestry is to make money.
Yeah. And
if you tick off the patrons or cut off your source of records, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt the bottom line. It's going to, it's going to hit the bottom line of the account, and they don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to find much in the way of change at all.
Good.
I think it's strictly a money deal. Money changed hands, and the leadership's going to keep it moving the way it was going, more than likely. As long as they make money, these new guys are going to be happy.
Okay.
Did you type your phone number in?
I did. 559-260-0266L.
Try that again.
Try it again?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I've got 3 5s. Gosh, sorry. 559-260-0266. Thank you. Proofread. Okay.
You need to hit enter or something. It's not going into.
Enter.
Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do have to hit enter.
Where's the enter button?
Well, there isn't one. Make sure your mouse is in there and it's blinking, and then hit enter on your
Oh,
keyboard.
I'm there.
There you go. It's there now.
Oh, it says type.
We'll all learn.
Well,
That's
it says,
what we're
oh,
doing.
there it is. I see it. Okay, got you. Enter on
Yeah.
my computer. Okay.
Yeah. So 2 Wednesdays from now, we'll be talking about some beginner stuff and especially trying to show you how to focus in on where the golden valley is for records and people that you might be able to add to tree. Try to show you the philosophy we try to use in North Stake for finding people. And then a month from now, the first Wednesday of next month, it'll be what's new at Family Search. And it'll be the new things that I've uncovered since the last time we did one of these. And so we'll have some interesting things for you. I'm starting to gather some pretty good things to show everybody.
Okay.
And so should be able to enjoy that.
That's the next
That'll
coming
be
up.
the first Wednesday of October. My gosh, this year's going
Okay.
too fast.
I know.
I have to stop and think.
No, don't stop. We're
So-
learning.
Is Elena still there or Ron? I don't know their last names. Either
Well, Ron,
Yeah, it's Ron Firestein.
Oh,
Brother
okay.
Firestein.
And how about Elena? Alayna? No? She
She
left
may be gone now.
Is it Alan? Oh, Rhea Allen? No,
me.
she's yeah.
That might be Elena Noyes from the 5th Ward.
She a consultant, you know?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, but she is an active genealogist.
Okay.
So it is
Elena.
noise?
Sister Givens,
Yeah.
iPad 76 is Becky Haney.
Oh, iPad 76, Becky Haney.
Thank you, Becky.
Sounds like Rich is there too.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you both credit. Haynie. Okay, so did somebody answer me? Was Elena, is Elena Noyes?
Yes. and
Okay,
She's in 5th Ward, Fresno Stake.
It's
Yeah.
spelled Noyes, I believe.
yeah, I know who she is.
Grant Bybee, you made it?
Is Shanna still on? Because she's not Shanna Stancliffe anymore. She's Shanna something else.
Yeah, Shanna's right here.
Miss
She
Shanna,
not-
is your last name Montgomery?
Your microphone's muted, Shanna. You need to unmute your mic. Find the little microphone symbol and click on it so it gets uncrossed. Just like I see my videos closed again. And in case you're wondering, I'm in Europe. This is a Santa Claus store in a little town along the Rhine. My wife's favorite place to go.
You betcha.
Christmas stores. Christmas stores.
Oh, I love
Noel.
Oh, who was Bob and Linda? Bob and Linda who? They're
that.
gone.
Well, there's
Okay.
a Bob and Linda Brown, but I don't know if that's them.
Hutchings, good to see you guys. Long time no see.
So,
Okay, so 16th, same time. Hopefully we'll have less hassles getting in. I apologize tonight. I don't know what was going on before the meeting, but something wasn't going right. I had trouble getting in. And then next month on the first Wednesday, which is the 7th of October, we will be doing what's new at Family Search. Okay?
Got
Uh-oh.
And so did you get Ernest's iPad? I believe that was Jay Hardy. It looked like Jay Hardy.
I didn't get a Gay Hardy.
Jay Hardy,
J as in
ward clerk,
She's,
5th Ward,
yeah,
Fresno 5th.
and she
Okay,
would,
well, just make sure everybody goes out and signs up for Roots Tech.
okay. We'll put
Get
that
signed
out.
up for free. They'll start feeding you some information about what's going to be going on. And you should be able to have a great time, especially with that word free. That's the best part of the whole deal. They're even going to have their vendors having some kind of interactive arrangement with the vendors this year, where you'll even be able to experience the vendor situation remotely. So they'll probably have.
I think it's Shanna Marshall.
Hi, this is Steve Martinez. That was Jay Hardy from the 5th Ward, and I'm looking forward to Roots Tech and the vendors too. That's great. Great job again tonight.
Okay, thank you. So have a good evening. I don't have anything else for you.
Okay.
My poor wife's going crazy getting everybody's names down. Barb, are you?
Yeah, I'm trying here.
Did you get Shannon Marshall? I think it's Marshall.
Oh, I thought it was maybe Montgomery. Marshall sounds right.
Yeah.
I put her down as Stancliffe, but you know, we know who she is.
Yeah.
You have owner?
I can't get on my
owner was Darlene Gillis.
Okay.
Laura puts hi, Dad.
Hi, La. My daughter from Marysville. Hey, invite your friends. We can have 100 people.
Right.
We're not even halfway there.
This is Steve Martinez again. I've continued to invite our entire stake, so hopefully we'll get some more people coming.
I've been invited a lot. Got them on my list. Thank you for your work.
Well, it's our pleasure. I'm just thrilled that we're able to bring it to so many of you now. Because for years I've kind of wanted to do this, but I never really had any feedback from the directors saying this sounded like a good idea, or to have me come over and do presentations. But this way I can do it for one, I can do it for everybody.
Right.
This is great. It's absolutely great. Thank you again.
Thank you.
If you have ideas of things you'd like covered, feel free to contact me.
Right.
Because I'm always looking for new things, because it's really hard month after month to come up with new things.
Okay.
And so you can make my life a lot easier by just sending me an email. I'll put my email in here.
Maybe you could do something on indexing. Would that be helpful? That's kind of the start of.
I've got a indexing director that would be happy to do that.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, that sounds great to me.
You know, it sounds good to me too. It means I won't have to do it.
Especially with this new foreign indexing that they want us to do. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. They'll train you in the language if you do not know it. I said,
wow.
So they have a system. You don't even have to know. If you wanted to do German or Spanish or French, they need everyone. So I've got a person I have to contact with names. So
you can contact me. You want my number?
Go ahead.
I put my email in the chat.
It's 559-770-6995. I would love to learn how to do that in Spanish. 559-770-6995.
And spell your name for me.
Steve.
Okay.
Martinez.
Is it Martinez?
Correct.
Okay. And Spanish. Okay. I have one German and one Spanish now. This is good.
If you wonder why they're doing this, all you've got to do is go look at the millions of records that are backed up.
Yes.
And if you actually go look and see that they're actually making progress, Spanish, there's a lot of South American and Central American records every month that come out. It's just amazing. Peru and Bolivia, and then of course Portuguese with Brazil, and just tons of new records. I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands of records. And it's because of the indexing.
Okay.
And if they don't get those indexed, they're never going to be able to have a way for people to do much research because they aren't going to dig through all those images from scratch,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
So
Before,
we really need those indexed.
when my parents were married in San Francisco in 1930, before it was indexed, San Francisco marriage, you just had to look through, know where the district is, and there's hundreds of names. And as soon as it was indexed, you put their names in and it went right to their marriage certificate.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So indexing is important. So, thank you. Okay. Everyone have a good evening.
Yes.
Yes, everybody have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next time.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.